Japan is quietly undergoing one of its most significant shifts in national security since the end of World War II. And no, it's not sudden. What we're seeing today is the culmination of years of strategic recalibration. Why now? Because the security environment in the Indo-Pacific has changed, and not for the better. Let's start with the basics. In 2022, Japan released a new national security strategy. In it, Tokyo made a stark assessment. The country is facing its most complex and dangerous security landscape since 1945. That's not political hyperbole. It's a reaction to a world where deterrence through minimalism and ambiguity no longer cuts it. China tops the list of concerns. Its military modernization isn't just about better tech. It's paired with a growing willingness to reshape the regional status quo, particularly around Taiwan and the East China Sea. Then there's North Korea, whose relentless push towards more advanced nuclear weapons has eroded Japan's faith in purely defensive strategies. And let's not forget Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which reminded everyone that nuclear-armed states are not necessarily restrained by conventional norms. So what's Japan doing about it? In short, moving from passive defense to active deterrence. A big part of that is the adoption of what's called counterstrike capabilities. That means Japan now reserves the right to hit enemy missile launch sites and command centers, not just intercept incoming attacks. Now, Japanese officials insist that this is not about preemptive strikes. It's still framed as self-defense. But make no mistake, the shift is doctrinally profound. The idea is clear. Missile defense alone can't stop everything, especially not when you're facing swarms of advanced, maneuverable weapons. And this isn't just talk. There's real money behind it. Japan plans to double defense spending to 2% of its GDP by 2027. That aligns it with NATO benchmarks and marks a clear break from decades of fiscal restraint. The buildup is serious. Long-range Tomahawk cruise missiles, F-35 fighter jets, naval forces capable of operating deep into contested zones, and expanded cyber and space units. Just as important, these capabilities are being deeply integrated with US military planning, shifting the alliance from symbolic reassurance to actual joint warfighting readiness. But this military revival has stirred an older, more sensitive question. What about nuclear weapons? For decades, Japan's 3 non-nuclear principles, don't possess, don't produce, don't allow them on Japanese soil, have defined its post-war identity. The US nuclear umbrella was seen as enough, strategically sufficient, ethically necessary, especially in light of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That consensus, however, is starting to show cracks. Why? Well, North Korea's nuclear threats, China's arsenal expansion, and even political uncertainty in Washington have pushed Japanese policymakers to at least talk about nuclear options. Since 2022, members of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party have floated ideas like nuclear sharing and extended deterrence. To be clear, they're not calling for nukes yet, but even raising the topic would have been unthinkable not long ago. Then came late 2025. An unnamed senior advisor allegedly voiced private support for Japan acquiring nuclear weapons. The government quickly walked it back, reaffirming its non-nuclear stance. Of course, backlash came fast. Survivor groups, opposition parties, and major media outlets condemned the idea. Politicians from across the spectrum reiterated, nuclear weapons wouldn't make Japan safer, and they certainly wouldn't align with its values. So while elite discussions have widened, public resistance is still deep-rooted. There's also the international angle. China and Russia have both warned that any Japanese move towards nuclearization would be a red line, often invoking Japan's wartime past. North Korea, predictably, used the debate to justify its own nuclear buildup. And Washington strongly opposes any Japanese nuclear ambitions. It views such a move as a threat to global non-proliferation and to alliance unity. Instead, the US has responded by boosting extended deterrence talks, essentially saying, "We've got your back, no need to go nuclear." Technically speaking, Japan is what some call a threshold nuclear state. Thanks to its advanced nuclear energy sector and stockpiles of plutonium, it could develop weapons fairly quickly. But capability doesn't mean intent. Doing so would require exiting the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, breaking IAEA rules, risking sanctions, and most likely damaging ties with the US. Strategically, it's not a simple win either. Japan's population density and geography make it incredibly vulnerable in any nuclear exchange. So where does this leave us? Japan is not racing toward the bomb. What we are witnessing is a recalibration, a more muscular conventional posture that still respects long-standing legal and moral constraints. The military revival is real. Japan is preparing not just to defend, but to deter high-intensity conflict alongside its allies. But when it comes to nuclear weapons, the red lines remain, even if the conversation around them has become louder. Japan today is not clinging to pacifism, nor is it charging to nuclear militarism. It's navigating a tough new era with a mix of realism and restraint, sharpening its spear but stopping at the nuclear threshold. And in a world where strategic stability feels more fragile by the day, that careful balance might just be Japan's most important asset.